Dust to Dust is a deck building and disintegration game for 2 to 4 players from Haven Wall Games. Today, we're going to learn how to play it. In Dust to Dust, you play the role of a diver, charged with plunging into the dust to stop your floating island from sinking. You'll do this by using energy to recruit powerful allies and purchase relics, with the goal to have the most victory points, known as fusion shards, at the end of the game. There are 4 types of cards in Dust to Dust: energy coins, fusion fragments, allies, and relics. Fusion fragments are the most basic. They don't have any effects, and each is simply worth 2 fusion shards or victory points, shown at the top left corner of the card. This will be important at the end of the game. Energy coins are spent to purchase other cards. The amount of energy required to acquire a card is in the top right corner. Allies will wind up forming the bulk of your deck in Dust to Dust. They're the most complex cards and largely determine the course of the game, as well as your own strategy. In the top right, you'll find the card's energy cost. In the top left, the number of victory points it's worth, if any, similar to fusion fragments. At the bottom, you'll find the ally's effects, which you'll get when you play it from your hand. If the ally can be played as a shield, that will be shown on the right side of the card. We'll get into what that means when we show some gameplay. Almost all allies also generate energy coins. The number you'll get when you play the card is in the bottom left. During the game, you'll spend energy coins to recruit allies and use those allies to make even bigger purchases and build a deck as efficient as possible to generate more energy. Importantly, you only have one ally action a turn. If an ally says powerful under its name, it will use your ally action. But if it says it's efficient, you can play it without using your ally action, even if you've already played a powerful ally. Later in the game, you might play one powerful ally and several efficient allies in a single turn. Some allies can make other powerful allies efficient, so turns can get pretty crazy. The plan for all this energy you're trying to generate? Acquiring more cards worth victory points, which are added up at the end of the game. The cards worth the most victory points are the 4th and final card type, relics. There are 10 relics in Dust to Dust, and if you manage to generate 8 energy in a single turn, you can purchase one. Relics are each worth a staggering 5 victory points at the end of the game, so you'll probably want to pick a couple up. When you buy a relic, it stays in play for you for the rest of the game. Every relic will make you dust a card from your hand at the start of each turn, and we'll talk about dusting in a moment, but they all come with a unique, powerful effect that can help you turn after turn. Now that we've gone over the cards themselves, let's set up for a game. To start, take the stack of 10 relics and shuffle them. Then, split them up into 2 stacks of 5, flipping the top relic in each face up. Place these stacks in their designated spots on the dust playmat, or just in the center of the table. Next, choose the ally cards you'll be playing with. There are a ton of different allies in Dust to Dust, but each game you'll only need 10. The official rulebook has several recommended combinations to get you started, but once you get more familiar with the game, you can mix and match however you want. The game comes with 5 copies of each ally. You'll place all copies of your chosen ally set face up on the table, along with 8 fusion fragments and 10 energy coins. This, along with the relics, makes up all the cards you can purchase throughout a game. Each player also needs a starting deck, made up of 8 energy coins and 2 fusion fragments. Don't worry, your deck might look uninteresting now, but in several turns it'll be full of allies. Randomize your deck and place it face down in front of you. Each player then draws a starting hand of 5 cards, and after selecting a player to go first, we're ready to begin. Turns in Dust to Dust consist of playing allies from your hand, getting their effects, and then using the energy provided by the allies you played, and any energy coins in your hand, to purchase new cards to add to your deck. It's helpful to use the turn order card to stay organized in your first playthroughs. Looking at it, we can skip the first 3 steps, as we don't have any relics or shields yet. Since the game just started, we don't have any allies yet either, so we can skip step 4 as well. This brings us to step 5, where we count our energy and buy more cards. With a hand of 4 energy coins and 1 fusion fragment, we have several options. While we could afford to buy more energy or fusion fragments, it's generally better to focus on allies early on, as they actually do things to advance our game plan. We could buy any ally that costs 4 or less, or 2 allies that cost 2. You don't have to use all the energy available every turn, but it's usually good to do so, with the exception of buying more energy coins, as they don't have effects and essentially bloat your deck with cards that don't do anything. You'll notice that at any point during a turn, a player can dust one card from their hand. This removes the card from your deck and puts it in the shared piles on the dust playmat. Players can't access dusted cards unless a card specifically tells them to retrieve a card from dust, which adds it to their hand. Dusting opponents' cards is a powerful way to attack them, but you also might want to dust your own cards throughout a game to create a smaller deck packed with allies that you want to see turn after turn. With that in mind, for this turn, let's dust the Fusion Fragment. We might want to pick some up later in the game for their victory points, but it's not a priority for now. Sometimes you'll want to hold on to them if you're recruiting allies that have effects dealing with Fusion Fragments, but on this turn, we're going to use our 4 energy coins to recruit Barrelhorn Rhino. At this point, all energy coin cards or allies we played, all allies recruited, along with anything unplayed in our hand, go to our discard pile, and we draw 5 new cards at the very end of the turn. Once the rest of the players have taken a turn, it's back to us. Let's dust the other Fusion Fragment and recruit Fuse Gatekeeper with our 4 energy. At the end of the turn, everything goes to the discard pile again and we have to draw 5 new cards. Our deck is empty, but anytime you need to draw a card without having any left, you simply shuffle up your discard pile and it becomes your deck. Now our deck has 8 energy coins and 2 allies. On our third turn, we can finally play an ally. Barrelhorn Rhino could be used alongside the 4 energy coins in our hand to allow us to purchase 6 energy worth of cards, but we can also play it as a shield. With most allies, the card is played, you get the effect, its energy, and then it goes to the discard pile at the end of the turn. But with shields, you have a choice to let it stay face up in front of you and give you the option to block attacks. If you play a shield ally in this way, you won't get any of its effects or its energy for the turn you charge it, but if it's still around on subsequent turns, you'll get its effect right after any relics you might have at the start of your turn, and you'll be able to use the energy it provides. Having Barrelhorn Rhino in play as a shield will give us 2 additional energy on every following turn. It will also let us block other players' attacks. If someone plays an attack ally, with a sword in the effect text, and the effect would target you, you can choose to block with your shield and put it in your discard pile instead of suffering the negative effect. The attacking player will still get any other effects on their attack ally and any energy it provides, but the attack won't hit you. Players can only have 1 shield in play unless an ally says otherwise. In most cases, charging a shield ally as a shield when you already have one will cause the first shield to go to the discard pile, and you won't get any energy it would have provided when it comes time to count your energy coins. This turn, let's charge Barrelhorn Rhino as a shield, placing it temporarily face down to remember we don't get the energy from it that turn, and buy another Rhino. Now let's take a look at an example of a more complex potential turn later in the game once our deck has more cards. In this turn, we have a relic in play that we might have bought the previous turn, the Gate Key. At the start of the turn, it requires us to dust 1 card from our hand, let's choose this energy, but it will make the first ally we play each turn efficient. It also provides an additional energy itself. After dusting for the Gate Key, we get any shield effects. Our Barrelhorn Rhino doesn't have any effects, but it will give us 2 more energy at the end of the turn if we keep it in play and don't charge another shield, so we already have 3 potential energy. Now, let's play allies. Our hand is now 3 energy coins and Poison Hand Chancellor, which is made efficient by the Gate Key, so it won't use our 1 ally action. Using its effect to draw 2 cards, we find Thistledown Hawk and Barrelhorn Rhino. We can then play Thistledown Hawk to retrieve 2 cards from dust, adding them to our hand. Let's retrieve this other Thistledown Hawk and a Fuse Forge Blacksmith, and then play the Thistledown Hawk we just got to retrieve 2 fusion fragments. Then we can play Fuse Forge Blacksmith and discard one of those fragments to have it provide more energy with its effect. We can still play the Barrelhorn Rhino we drew since everything has been efficient so far, so let's use our ally action on the Rhino, but play it regularly just to provide 2 more energy so we can keep our active shield and the energy it provides. Now let's count our energy. The Gate Key provides 1, our Rhino shield provides 2 more, as does the Rhino we just played. Each Hawk and the Chancellor provide 1 each, and since we discarded a fusion fragment, the Blacksmith gives us 3. Added to the 3 energy coins in our hand, we have a total of 14 to spend this turn on relics, allies, and fusion fragments. Not all turns line up quite this perfectly, but this is a good example of how you can string together allies late in the game for some pretty impressive turns. Players will continue taking turns until the end of the game is triggered, either by one player buying their 3rd relic, or all copies of 5 out of the 10 starting allies are bought. When this happens, each other player at the table takes one more turn, and then all players count their victory points, aka fusion shards, on all their cards, from relics they've acquired to the fusion fragments in their deck, and any allies they have that are worth victory points. The player with the most wins. In the case of a tie, the player with the most relics wins, and further ties are broken by whoever has the fewest cards in their deck being declared the winner. This was a winning deck from one of my recent games, totaling 29 victory points. And that's how to play Dust to Dust. The official rulebook answers some edge case questions and has a few different ally combinations to get you started. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, you can check the game out at the links in the video description. Thanks for watching.